All right, welcome back to the show. You're still watching with audio for extended version. We have Anas lawyer, one of his representatives or his counsels, Evans Selassie Adeka. He's on the line to speak to us on this very matter. Good evening, lawyer.
Good evening, Kevin.
Thank you very much. My first question to you is a very difficult one. You speak English. You speak from your name, Selassie. You speak ever like me, Melakope. Do you speak the Akan language?
Yes, please. I speak.
Good.
Tree. Yeah.
It makes it easy for you and easy for me too. Good evening and welcome back to the show. Today, we got news that Anas Arimia Anas, Oye Ghanani, Oye investigative journalist, his work, over the years, he has gone through a lot of court appearances, in Ghana and also in the United States. And the Abetin say a year Kennedy Agyapong or your former MP. A few years ago, announced the investigative piece by na FA football home, GFA, and at the end of the day, Nyoma Bibrisi, one of his colleagues or any investigations near the day, Ahmed Swale, FMU, after that, series of Nyama Esi, a lot of information about out from Kennedy Agyapong, a lot of allegations that were made against Anas. Say it wouldn't crumple Ahmed Swale, at the point Kennedy was insinuating on radio and on TV, say Anas Nimhubi. A lot of things were said by Kennedy Agyapong. He even went further to have a whole documentary session at his premises. Or Tunidin, who watches The Watchman, Obo video, trying to create the impression that whatever Anas put out initially as the original documentary, he has the original tapes that were hidden and all that. Now, fast forward, Anas felt to say there was a lot of allegations made. He thought he needed to clean himself because of the reputation he carries and also his work or ended up in New Jersey in a court. To make it easy for us, we are one of the lawyers for Anas, and I want to state again, Udini Evans Selassie Adeka, renowned lawyer. Bepacho, can you run us through how it started and how we got to know today, say, a judgment in the New Jersey court, Abba?
Okay, Mr. P. The interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes. And
that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. Mm. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. Mm. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, "Yeah, papa no, and someone just like what kind about my client." So, like, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. And so, interesting enough, after reviewing the video, in our training, there's something that we are taught. So, in your case, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring, So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you tweet back court, New Jersey, yes, and say, yeah, papa no video no, so yeah, papa na and the new some say, or kase fee New Jersey. Now, when you say, the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. They all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, when say, so no, a lawyer. So obviously, he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Oded Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So after the preliminary back and forth, initially the case was we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit sometime, I think.
The complaint.
Yeah, sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And by law, there was a period by which Yapapano Anka was or responding with what is known as an answer. But so Yapapano filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of Onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, so say Yenuya no a serial killer in terms of Chinese for Bibi Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal, the blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, say behind Woody Sembiana, that means say Abiana no a trigger man and also no will be and I say perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi a. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went on undefended after the response time, now we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with 2 brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemega Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record, and the case went at that point. Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously because near Beji judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default, they argued that they had a solid defense, and I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana, release it. And I know so say defense to case
because
New Jersey.
We need Ghana, so our case no
exactly.
In case. Okay.
So as defense against, but the interesting thing is that defamation sits here say kind of the work of court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean to Ghana and from the defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because Ghana but you sound so free other countries. There are certain times that even though any of presidential value, I just said, they didn't mean so India, but to me the two na senior or the two especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. Procedurally, there are certain nuances. Sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by And also in New Jersey, MNI drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes. In this case, and not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard.
Okay.
And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And we took it for what it's worth, and we forged on, and we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year, and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday, and we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses, and after listening to both sides, senior answer na ever try case the difference between what happened with Ghana and see Johannes said trial by jury into judge or judge back one I say judge me no one I say judge me and send a bidi asem but normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and in this case, we started off with veneer. That's the technical word for when the prospective jurors are brought in. We're from a veneer. The veneer of 60 citizens, tax-paying citizens of the state of New Jersey, specifically Newark, New Jersey, and its surroundings, were brought in, and after what is known as Boadaya, which is the process by which they are questioned to see if they have any sort of bias or anything that will stand
for Ghana for your vetiomo. Say bia
vetiomo just said obi nim asem hu bia na so onimu bia asem we fan ho ana say obi wo hwa bia nyame bi osom no so we went through all of that. That was day one. That took from area to the end of the day. And so on Tuesday, we came to court and we had our opening statements. They had their opening statements. And then we proceeded to put on our evidence. And at the close of the evidence, the jury was instructed, judge, in this case, judge, Emrano. Na Omodiama, jury, no make church from making first. So people are inside. Aqua decide the different deliberations. Me nim there some can trim, but me sure say me cause. Almost pensing okay. And there are some more about Thursday about 4:30. Yeah, the church room running now, and there are some more 4:30. Into now, I dream say we be an 4:30. Caught a punk right around that time, which is I believe consistent with the practice in I know it's consistent with the practice in Ghana. Into I dream so we be at Nana. Take a deep breath and reflect on what has transpired during the past 4 days. And about 20 minutes later, we got word that the jury. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that a charges counts now at the buy and the civil claims now at the buy. His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Union, he came to court and asserted truth as his defense. And so
time I caught to say sa counting na mode bono no say on it and us back and forth, right? The only claim or make it or say banter. I just say we can't wait and share or no, they're not all can you say obi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court me there that was not
and your son of okay ura court no G2
yeah be or maintaining the position say no can or down stand by no kind.
Okay.
Basically, remember just practice no crane odi no onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that, no, or the movie you try or in it too, who watches a watchman.
Mm-hmm.
But the announced by as on only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord with. So jury never bugui. About 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of yes, very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana Samuel.
All against
8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no and also there was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes on said there was no doubt in our presentation to what you kind of lay people. These are not experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay
people who just sat and used their common sense to come to a conclusion.
No. I would not say use their. I would not say use their common sense.
They listen to you and they listen to the other part. It makes sense though.
And then the law is the law. No judge in this world has any power to bend the law. That sort of conduct is what causes strife and war in places.
Yeah.
America had the judge actually before the judge read kind jury instruction, but catch jurors and say, "Oh no, only to be a and that's how it went. But you know what's interesting about Nisi and or a lawyer contrary, even though people don't give him credit for that.
At least Bonidina Anas Asemna working.
But you're Anas, Anas. Or also a very astute lawyer, Onimumrapa, new beer, your dreamer. And and some people will cry a car on Jintumu, but sometimes a team of legal team to we come to a compromise. Now, he has been adamant about clearing his name because I have a personal experience of understanding. It's one of the worst things that can happen to someone.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took the position that he wanted a trial. He's not interested in any settlement. He's not here for the money. He's here to clear his good name that he has built over time. And in his profession, at this time, Anka also started doing one. So he always maintained that he wanted a trial to the point where sometimes there was a disagreement in the legal team. Now, procedurally, America, peace. Schedule say, and from this time to this time, staff that work out we are dedicating it to your case. It's no small matter.
I know. I've been there. It's not easy.
Before they will go to trial, there's mandatory settlement conference. I bet say maybe by this time we'll be say grown or they'll commit to the rights and senses and decide say this shouldn't go on because yes. And I acquire unfortunately, me and Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million, just like the jury came back. As you know, these days we have all kind of tools that we can use to predict certain things.
Before you go ahead, this is where the contention is, and people saying 80 million, others saying a year 30 million. Now when you read,
we'll come to that. Let me clarify. Let me just clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Complaints the coin. Yeah, claim for $30 million. $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that at the before the mandatory settlement conference, before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million US. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, you papa about court. Now the lawyer say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and he said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Muko Drew Hono, and that's initially ne kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And the
yes.
Client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then the priority of going to court.
Yes.
But because of the experience, now unim sibi anyo matiano, uno client here Anas Kasa and say it would be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, Okra no client and us, you did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel and as a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
Oh yeah, like I said, your lawyer at Awemega, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Also come home. And Andrew D here.
Yeah, you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Wemega is there.
Yes.
D here is there. Crow is there. Yourself. Basically, as we are speaking to you, we are speaking to all of them because.
Yes. So the whole team agreed on that, but he was the only reluctant one in settling the matter. But procedurally, we couldn't go to trial without actually going through to the settlement conference.
Yes.
In spite of his reservations, we still almost cut our demand down to about a little over half.
Okay.
But to our surprise, you have a panel buyer and also on over $10,000 to end the case.
No.
I want to arbitrate and who said no, some way I'm sure so I can papers, So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. So to go back to how it ended, so at about 4:50 on Thursday. And the jury brought us in and they told us what unanimously what they had arrived at. But we decided to keep it under wraps because there was a component you multiply 18 million by 5 money do 90 million for a total of about
that was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, because
to do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say back to your board with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
We ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of ×5 because almost file emotions be I just say or see a two in terms of that and sana. Say one way or another I could pursue that ×5 and I say depending on what happens, maybe I between German and cafe. But at this time, almost my court no say into swore.
Okay. So at this point, my court who say beba 80 million or almost pentiswo. How many days do they have to file that?
Okay. So at this point, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper. A judgment. I just say court reading seal better so.
Yeah.
That would take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, depending on how that motion goes.
Okay.
We will get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our ×5 of that 18 million, or a big German. So depending on how that motion goes.
So for now,
yes.
for example, 18, Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because say, hypothetically, so much to grab back 10, we still have the opportunity to go for times 5.
That is 50. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of extra 50 plus. Yeah, hypothetically, so much to back 10, we can go for another times 5.
You as a Ghanaian and also a lawyer and defending a fellow lawyer who is a journalist, this has been an experience. Do you want to share something with us when it comes to these kind of defamations and how comparing our judicial system back home and in the States? I'm not forcing you to condemn any, but I'm trying to find out from you. There are so many people in Ghana, they don't really understand how the American judiciary works because we are so used to the Ghana style of judiciary whereby things go a certain way. And I would say sometimes very, very slow. And sometimes you need to know something for even things to move the pace you want. In terms of how this case, how fluid it went, and comparing it to back home. I'm saying back home because I am more concerned back home, and especially when Kennedy presented a case which is the same defamation case, and he tried to use that as a basis that what he did was right. From your experience as a professional, I don't want to say what have you learned. What have you? What do you want to share something with us before you go?
Yeah. Me percent me share all the young people in Ghana. Me show them crying say
yeah.
Now the country is a young country, so I tend not to criticize too strongly.
Yeah.
But Oman and young people need to take their rightful position in the country because you know, my only thing is that young people see that it's wrong or they know it's wrong, they need to stand up for their rights. The country is still young, so I would not be pointing any fingers at anybody. But me American, I'm school from high school. I lawyer, and you know, I know America very well. And for the past 7 years, I was licensed in Ghana in 2014, and I've been practicing actively for the last 7 years in Ghana. See, I know the problems that we face. I think it's a systemic problem that allows people to hide in there to sort of engage in certain conduct because democrats, you know, say the system, justice system, if it does not guarantee justice, and then one day, you know, there's going to be a problem. And you know, I like to direct my comments to all young politicians, those who have entered the fray, you know, about 40 and less, you know. Let's not, if we see things that are not right, let's not say because you benefited from it because your party we want to say party we you know, we're going to condone it. We all need to make sure that we are contributing to building a Ghana that we can all live in. And you know, I would like to end on that. The system is not perfect. There are many things that we can do to also improve it. I will not talk about the substance of some of the things, but I also think the judiciary in Ghana is burdened with a lot of work. There are certain things that exist here in the US that they don't have that perhaps need to be implemented. Some of these judges in this country, in the US, are ably assisted by law clerks who help them lessen their burden. But like I said, the young people in Ghana, we need to look at ourselves, because I've had judges tell me, say, I've suggested that, and I've had judges tell me, say, oh no, if a young person cry, but an office on here, who want to leaky judgment at this car before the judgment is granted. So I will not be pointing fingers at, what happened in Ghana was a travesty of justice. I'll say that without mincing words.
The defamation, now Kennedy Winnie.
Absolutely, because I'm now a solid, which back to the maybe I can say, before a court can pronounce someone as a criminal, no, there ought to be a due process ought to be followed. And I have a publication that that's going to come out on this subject in the very near future. For the courts to have called my client a criminal without giving him a criminal trial was a travesty of justice. And the court in New Jersey rightfully classified that as obiter is dicta. It can never be a criminal conviction.
Mm. So that was how the court in New Jersey, the Superior Court in New Jersey, actually addressed that particular.
Yes, because the will be criminal. The will be criminal. You can bring proof to say the person has been adjudged to be a criminal. You understand? So the Ghana judgment by court jurors when we brought a police clearance certificate at CID headquarters through the proper normal channels, we got it. It was sealed before we brought it to court, and that was giving more credence than what the judge said about Anas being a criminal, because that is the right thing.
How do you feel as a Ghanaian lawyer, a young Ghanaian lawyer standing before a U.S. judge, making a statement like this from a court in Ghana? I feel it's quite embarrassing. Like I said, our country is growing. We are the U.S. is 200 and something years old. We are 60 something years old. So I like to always look at things from an optimistic standpoint. I hope that this is going to be a lesson, because Ghana is not Ghana. Just by dint of even some of your papa no cry among full nim Ghana. Ufa Uber Krumwa. I remember say in the middle of the trial, Uber be a driver and I catch him say, I'm moving Ghana tourism country. Mano is young, but it's a country that we all need to protect and we need to guard zealously. And that starts from the delivery of justice, because no one should have to feel that they need to go outside the four corners of Ghana to get justice. Justice emanates from the people, and we have enough people in Ghana. Because I saw say recently, judges know. They are educating people about the jury system. As part of our civic responsibility, it will also go a long way, along with amending laws to allow more juror participation in different kinds of cases now. Lawyer Evans Selassie Adeka, or some of the Esquire. So thank you very much, and I'll also say thank you to your colleagues that helped. In this case, Andrew De Gea, also Arthur Wemega Esquire, and Aday Crow. I would like to say I really appreciate your time. You've educated us and also made things very clear to Ghanaians.
I'd like to point something else. So there were a few things that I think I glossed over. I think I told you said the threshold that we had to meet in the US was much higher than in Ghana. And in that regard, one of the allegations that was made is that you are a serial killer in terms of multiple Chinese. What was appalling, and I say video proof. Say proof say I'll be stand no say Chinese for video it was an embarrassment, because it some video be say preko na you namoya hangi wo unu say unku aboa hangi mamuja no so no
and then on be show say
say no kwemu ni na nka say no ana say but it was definitely what he said he was going to produce, and I think that really disgusted the jury, because and it's not something to accuse someone of likely.
Thank you very much for clarifying this. Ivan Selassie Adeka Esquire, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate every single minute you've shared with us here. At least, we are to rest for now. From your explanation on this case, we end there. The response from the defendant, Kennedy Agyapong, the lawyers, so we're waiting for them to also file what they have to file. Now, I share where it goes from where we are now.
And just to clarify, any response, so and can I have for times 5 no.
Yeah.
The assembly attitude to say yeah no person much na for the sake of transparency no be any time now or yes we be yano na almost there yeah didn't better so the almost when you dance why be gina sa 18 na yeah decided say we have some decisions to make whether I say you be chairman na kwa appeal but the thing is appeal no the difficulty is appeal no US no answer no be appeal no he needs to put the full $18 million dollars down in a bond answer no we file appeal no. And we Bob Bryant today, I'm sure say depending on how that goes, we have the prerogative of deciding say we ever go for times 5 based on that 18 million if it stands and I say almost so bad hypothetically even 10 and I say 12 krana will still decide to say say Buana was or bar up with a nice offer. So be chase canana or union I'm not saying because I told you union or no Kuranadian or no so a lawyer, we work on we'll entertain that and decide say okay, ABI Bijan Mua young Copesa times 5 no and I say but I say change now but what for times 5 no. Because there are certain other things that happen. There are certain things that also happen that will influence our decision one way or another.
Yeah. Lawyer, we will be on standby. And I know, sir,
okay.
Baby Ano, we will come back for more clarification and education. We really appreciate you very much. Evans Salasi Adeka Esquire, he has been our guest. He is one of the lawyers of Alnas Arim Yao Anas. Wachech and Senu Ejujum Emagana for Ehuno Kreno. I really want to say thank you very much to a year lawyer, Ivan Salasi, and the other lawyers or counsels that helped him. And I said, I'm about together as a team to make sure Anas has a solid or had a solid legal team backing him. No, Mr. Arthur Wemega Esquire, he was part of the council Anas lawyers. No, Andrew here is also part of Anas legal team. No, and Odei Crow was part. And as you know, lawyer Ivan Salasi Adeka on your screen, he was also part of Anas legal team. No, so now my mentor they see what court and the pictures and the videos. So this is what happened in court. Kennedy Agyapong, you see during the hearing, no, Okojun saw 10 times. Obano anumusio Kennedy are frail, or mre. Or nantia no you say. Oh, who the onfe. They need to brino. Kennedy Agyapong, you see in the court. Insue otusu baba go no ada no Okojun so no aba. Sikeni bele. Junso hini esikeni bele. Otigana yenkanasem kwasiasam. And the America court, ye piano question now. We ought to be Ghana court, no did judge at them. Near so so, oh, Mr. Kennedy, oh, honorable. America court, pure water near seven. America court, Kennedy Agyapong, pure water near the man is a no. Or to down Sakoko. My catch Ghana for. Sanko for Namusa so Ghana na, Obubano Muda Damono. They are nobody in America, they are nobody in Europe and America. They are nobody. And Akwa Kennedy was suppressing the power chronim, Ghana chronim. And or to down on Yaman pure water. My mention more pictures from court today. Maybe I mention video. This is they see what court and Kennedy near na case in course not OTA. My mention Joe Markesia Kesium. Send a bear bloggers in Benya BBD. Kennedy near case na course on the court. Kennedy Agyapong at one. The lawyer is in Trase. Amutumu se moya ding. $18 million a car at the Kennedy Tiriso. $18 million. Na no kasa. Any nyomebia oye. Otigana. Ena omu frustrating call for. Omu the court a popo call for. The same case in Ghana where we need Ghana judges a time case na man so we need. Obedu America osade sa case na ba say me wini case no Ghana and America court said dabi. The na ekoso Ghana no sebio no mu bonkuro. This is Kennedy. The lawyer sorry kasa emfa. Boga yemre ye jujum me ma bloggers. The lawyers na kasa no e defend no emfa Kennedy so neto no ye pia na hye showdown ayemre showdown at court waye din judge bi ani wa onim no eye clerk bi ani wa onim no bailiff bi ani wa onim no sa court we enya ho ne akoka do you know who I am or do you know me I say yenka do you know me akaboga nko an lawyer ba ko no yehu me bia wafa enti ene da ho no New Jersey Superior Court Kennedy Agyapong ene yemia na hye nkyɛn no ontumi nkasa boga ye mre onim obi a akwa hunahuna no akoye do you know me don't you know I am akompre ku Kennedy Agyapong Kennedy Agyapong na te wo no ai ekoso court wo orkodo 18 million showdown they twe the boho no Kennedy so pa akokokon in the showdown and ye piano kosi enchen momienko enim gallery na ekoso no afera de se boga atene kire sa akonwa no so obi atene makotene kire na ese emu aye din boga kana no esi so read my lips boga reading la oka se nka onkodi MP no onie ono se ko court we si di trase e kaba akoko kontwa apetere ne tie si fom Kennedy nuani nie we na not radio so ye Kennedy will contest the 2028 elections onie we si di trase mebra de na wakofa be kakra ya yesi ye nende o me rekoma na asa akudi ase no obema Kevin Taylor 500,000 enti Kennedy nuani nie we na okopri seat na ya nto ama no omo nka no kre de otieche o de minim ebia omo busu apanyi na sankofo no ebia omo wo eye African market ni bi no enti Kennedy nuano you can see amaboju krom nyiye pressure ba this year court season me so me ba be court omo mu defame me lawyer defame a judge in America. I am going to court. Now let's watch a video.
Okay, so the court's decision, if we start at the end, the court is denying the request from this trial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for